So, good morning. Happy Sunday. It is a bit of a rainy, gloomy day, and this morning I decided that I was going to do something a little different. So, every morning I will pull tarot cards and oracle cards, and I have kind of a little bit of a method, but not a whole lot. And then I also journal. And I do that for myself, and I love this practice, but I also kind of wanted to see if I could meditate on like the world and the collective energy and see what I came up with and then share it for anyone who might be interested. All right, so the first deck that I used was the Wild Unknown. So this is a very Kim Kranz reading. It's going to use her Wild Unknown Tarot cards, her Wild Unknown Animal Spirit, and then also the Archetypes deck and guidebook. I just absolutely love her. This is Natalie's favorite also. The decks and the guidebooks are amazing. Anyhow, so I've pulled just basically one card from each. So the first one that I pulled for the collective was, did I pull it or it popped out? I think it popped out, was the Daughter of Swords. And I'll go through like the meanings in a moment, but I pulled the Daughter of Swords, and then from Animal Spirit, I pulled, or what came out was the Rabbit. And then from the Archetypes, which is the one that I know the least, I'm still learning all of it really, but I know the least. So each one I always go into the guidebooks to find out what it means, but I pulled the Shadow. And this is really interesting because when I was sort of meditating this morning first on it, I was just kind of looking at the day and thinking about the time frame. And again, you can't really see that it's been raining, and the energy was a bit heavy. It's heavy because of so many things that are going on right now. But I just imagined like the collective, or a lot of us, just thinking, wow, it's the end of October. It's going to be November this year is almost done, and there's so much unknown, uncertainty, and we're not quite, Halloween is this weekend, so it's not quite the fun and the with all the dressing up and all of that. So today is kind of that day to like, what are people thinking about? What are people feeling right now as we start to get to this last quarter of the year? And so these cards were just so interesting that I pulled them. So I'm going to go through and let's take a look at the Daughter of Swords. Hold on. Here's the Daughter of Swords. Young woman whose honesty insights take her far in life. Basically, she's, the swords represents the mind, intelligence, the mental. Swords is like cutting through. And the Daughter of Swords, it's not female versus male. It's just masculine versus feminine energy, kind of. But yeah, so you'll see that it says like she can't stop watching all of the things and thinking about all of them, and there's potential that she could become spiteful and judgmental. Yeah, so that came out. And then the Rabbit. So the Rabbit is afraid of everything, overwhelmed and frozen. So has a great little story here, but basically when in balance, a problem solver, a good listener and sensitive, and when out of balance, over explains, talks fast, and to bring into balance, a day of silence. And I could see that, like, if the collective or a lot of us are just running around, or just just overwhelmed, like maybe consuming too much news, consuming too much of everything, and just being, rabbit-like in the sense of being, frazzled. And a day of just silence or coming back to center might be good for the collective. And then the shadow came up, and I keep losing my page. So, and it just flipped right to it. So the shadow is really interesting because it talks about unspeakable, the unwelcome, the denied. When in light, revealing unconscious aspects. When in dark, denying. And basically one thing that stands out when I was reading this was that it says, by rejecting parts of ourselves and the world, we begin to separate from the whole. Rather than getting to know the qualities and content of our shadow, we busy ourselves with avoiding its presence. This is denial. Basically it says, when this appears, take inventory of what you've been denying. And basically, kind of start to bring light to that. And so all of these are, they really suit each other, I think, especially like the Daughter of Swords means like you're aware, but, so there's the daughter. In this deck, there's the daughter, the son, the mother, and the father. The daughter is the youngest of the court cards in swords, so it's like the beginning, and it has room to grow for sure, evolve. And then we heard the rabbit, which is being just scattered and too afraid. And then the shadow, it's like more fear of things that are coming out. So what's interesting is then on the bottoms of the deck, so basically if I shuffle the cards and then one pops out, and then the bottoms of the deck, here's what came up for that. And I'm new to like tarot and oracle, but from what I gather, it's kind of like the bottom of the deck it can represent different things, but I felt like it represented what's to come, kind of, or what needs to come, or what's on the other side of that, so anyhow, so the Daughter of Swords, the Mother of Cups, so the cups represents emotions and feelings, communication, very loving energy, and the mother is, the mother of all of that. And so if the Daughter of Swords is like the beginning, the youngest of the mind, who's, might be a little bit new to that and isn't able to get under control, the Mother of Cups is loving and much more mature in the heart realm. And so maybe that needs to kind of come into play. And then the rabbit, which we know is scattered and scared, the butterfly represents transformation. And to, and in the book, it says, don't be basically, if the transformation is you, like count on your friends or others to care for you or to nurture you while you're in your cocoon, while you're transforming. And so I love that, because if the rabbit is scared and fearful, we would need a transformation in order to get better. With the shadow, and then the bottom of the deck is the shaman, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But I should probably look at that up. But basically, this is a very high level energy pull. And let's see if I can find it. Good. Okay. So what's great about this is, and what's interesting is that it basically says there's 3 archetypal ingredients that constitute the shaman, and all must be present to reveal its magic. So the first one is the mentor, the study of it. So someone who, is ready to activate themselves as somebody who will, kind of study and help themselves and become like that mentor. The second is healing. So that's what we need, right? With the shadow, we would need to heal. And then the other world. So that just becomes, I think, believing in magic, believing in the unseen, connecting with your spirit side of things, no matter what, religion or non-religion or whatever it is that you can connect with on a higher level. And so when in light, fearless student and practitioner. And so I think that if we have to be practitioners for ourselves, especially for any of us who are feeling, this energy, look at these as the challenge and these as, where we would need to go. And then because it was so heavy, and I felt like it would be, which is why it'll be interesting for me to see if I even share this, if anybody finds any of this interesting. But because it was so heavy, I was like, I can't leave it with that. I need to pull something else. And I love this. So this is from Jill Pyle, and it's a sacred self-care oracle guidebook. And again, if anyone needs or wants to know more about tarot and oracle, let me know, and I'm happy to do an overview of at least my experience of it. And also go to jloves.com. I'm going to post like pictures, and I'm going to post the links in the description box of this video, if they're, but also on jloves.com, so that you can look into any of these decks and guides for yourself that you could pull every day. Just pull one card, shuffle them, and pull one. And it just is, it's like, even for people who aren't into this kind of thing necessarily, if you've ever had a good time with a fortune cookie and just out of curiosity and whatnot, like it's like that. It can give us balance or insight. And it's true, like no matter what card comes out, you can relate it to your own life, your own situation, your time frame, etc. And it really is just a way to pull out how you really feel, or making you think about how you feel, or making you think, period. And anything, I think, that brings us light to ourselves, our day, our emotions, our thoughts, our spirits, just everything, and helps us come up with our own answers. Because, right, these cards don't say this is absolutely what's happening to you. It just is a way to help see what it's saying, read about it, and see if and where and how it connects. And of course, if it doesn't connect, you just kind of toss it out and maybe sell your guidebook and tarot deck if you absolutely hate it. But I find it to be just one of my favorite things of all time. And I'm so happy that I'm doing this for myself, because it really just, I don't know, it's great. I love it. So I couldn't leave it with all this kind of like heavy, energy, even though this is light, this is great. But, the actual cards that pulled was, ooh, that's a lot to take on, which I expected, because I honestly expect most of the collective for us to be going through these types of things. To be quite honest, when I say us, I won't say that I'm in this energy, because I've done so much work on myself within the last 2 or 3 years. And sometimes it makes me nervous to like meditate and pull for the collective, because I know it's going to be so heavy. But I'm also doing this because I feel like, because I've taken the time the last 2 or 3 years, and I had my own very serious things that I had to go through, that I don't know, maybe I can help. I don't know. So anyhow, so the self-care. So this was so cool that this pulled out. It was make an altar. So this popped out for the collective, and no better way than to start this process than to make an altar, very similar to what I have here. I just have like a table, and I'm like sitting on the floor. Maybe I'll take a picture of what this looks like, but it's just a table and a chair that I sit and can, be quiet in and meditate. And I have a little inexpensive but wonderful singing bowl, and I just take a few deep breaths. I pull cards, and then I journal, just for like 30 seconds to a minute. And I do it every single morning. And well, sometimes if I have a lot of early morning meetings and such, I'll do it later in the day. But I definitely have been doing it, and it's been great. And it's an altar that has helped me have a single space. And you don't have to have a lot of space to do that. In fact, if there's a challenge where you just feel like there's nowhere, absolutely nowhere in your home, you know, message me. No, I'll do a walkthrough with your home online. I'm sure I can find a place, because I feel like if you have a closet in an area, I have sat in a closet before, and if you make it pretty enough and cool enough and just quiet enough that's your own space, it can be a beautiful altar for you. And the thing is, in the spiritual world of things, they say, when you do these types of things and you do them every day in a particular place, and even in a particular time, but certainly in the same place, like an altar, you basically, there's a spirit and an energy that comes into the spot that that grows with it, and it just becomes stronger and stronger. So I would definitely recommend everyone. I don't, I'm into the tiny home era. Like, if this does not have to be a big room. In fact, I'm a big fan of small den-like spaces. I'm actually, in a really tight area right now, but I mean, and this is like huge to me, but the smaller the better. That's yours, and you can have fun with creating the space. So I would say, yeah, look into this if you don't have a space. If you do have a space, share it. Would love to see it, and how you how you made your altar, your space. I'll show mine on jloves.com. Maybe I'll even do a video on it. But yeah, so these are the cards for the collective. I feel like this energy is for the week. So maybe for this week, we can meditate on this, kind of think about it, and get the cards from Amazon if they appeal to you. We love them. They're the first ones that we got. And Kim Kranz, and the way that she explains things so simply inside of the guidebooks, they're just wonderful. And you can start off with just one. So even if you want to just start off with one, I think Natalie actually started off with the animal spirit, pulled one a day, or you can do lots of different types of spreads and things to give guidance, but maybe you can even start with that one. In fact, if I only did one, I would probably start with that one. If you do both, then get those two. And then if you're going to go all Kim Kranz, get the archetypes too. This is new. Well, all of them are new because I just started this practice, but this one for sure is the one that I would need. It's going to take some time for me to study and learn. But that's a great thing also in the morning when you just pull like one card or whatnot. You're learning as you're going, and it's so meditative. It's like reading, because when you read about these things, you connect in a way that it's talking about life circumstances and things. So it's not like you're learning about something. You're learning, you're reading, you're connecting, and more so you're connecting it with your life. It's wonderful. And then of course the sacred self-care. Self-care is going to be really critical. I mean, it always has been, but now we understand, hey, we got to really I think that the world, I know for me, we really need to get into a more we need to be selfish, okay? And there's some people who are just way selfish, and then they just need to be whatever. But I'm talking about each one of us needs to be caring for ourselves. I think so many times, I know for me, I've just cared, for a lot of other people, my daughter and stuff. And it's not saying that I'm not going to care for my daughter, my family, or whatever, but how often do we really nurture and take care of ourselves? It's not a selfish thing at all. In fact, I've learned the hard way that if I do not take care of myself, that everything kind of just falls to the wayside. So You know, the whole airplane thing, put your mask on first before you can help anyone else. Because if you're just dead, you're not going to help anyone. So I think the biggest and best gift that we can do for ourselves is to fall completely in love with ourselves, which then we call it completely fall in love with our life. And then we completely fall in love with the world in all of its crazy this way, that ways. We can do it, but it definitely starts with ourselves. So if you have been someone who it's been all about the kids or the husband or the wife or the boyfriend, the girlfriend, just, the business, anything other than you. And of course, all of those elements are for you, but really, like, have you done the deep and challenging work to really understand and love yourself? It takes a long time and it's challenging, but people like myself and many others are here to help because we've been through the process. We know how hard it can be, how challenging it can be, and how like unknown it can be, right? All the unknowns of it. But you are not alone. You are so loved. I love you all. I hope you have a great week. And yeah, think about your altar. It can be so simple. It can be just a little chair and a pretty picture or something that you want, maybe one of these decks or something. I'm not pushing, I'm not selling it. I'm just saying that this has been a great experience for me. Or you can go on YouTube and look up your astrology sign, Pisces November, and there's so many tarot readers and oracle readers that online, and I absolutely play them. I connect. If something sticks out that they say that I like or that I connect with, that I resonate with, I listen. And if there isn't, then I don't take it. I know it's for someone else. And yeah, it's great. So anyway, I rambled long enough. I love you guys. Remember, state is everything. So even if it's gloomy and rainy, it does not mean it's actually gloomy. You can say this is a time where we're getting the permission to relax, to watch a deep documentary, to go into our deeper selves, right? To enjoy and that, super enjoy that cup of tea or something. And, to get into state, move your body, so if you're feeling a little, it's okay. Like meditate on that, think about things, but then boom, like turn some music on, dance around. In fact, I'm taking a dance class with Natalie on Zoom. I'll also have that link on J Love's. She's amazing. If you need somebody that has the best energy, you definitely want to be with Shahana and Kuuma Fitness. But yeah, Natalie and I haven't done the fitness class that many times. We've done it a couple times. It's amazing. It's gonna get us boom, and then we can take we can take showers and go back into our relaxing meditative week. And yeah, I'm wishing everyone a wonderful, wonderful week. Love you.